What do we know about these discussions?
So what we know is that they're happening at the government-to-government level. Oil companies really aren't involved at this stage at the moment. But a lot of the details are yet to be finalized. So what they haven't yet decided is the actual volume of how much China could buy from Russia, the price, and also the timeline. And obviously the volume is going to be really crucial in terms of trying to gauge how that's going to be impacting the market. The other things that we do know is China's commodity reserves are extremely secretive, but there are third-party data analytics firms that try to sort of unveil how big the reserves actually are. And many of them estimate China's reserves to be above 1 billion barrels, which is huge. I mean, it must just, it dwarfs the US. And looking at satellite observation data, it does look like China's oil reserves had increased recently in the past couple of months, but it's still down about 6% from its peak from last year. So that gives us a little bit of a gauge of how empty the reserves are at the moment.
Anna, very quickly.
The other thing, obviously,
very quickly, Anna. Yeah, just want to get to the impact on the market. How does this all move the dial with prices and indeed the overall industry?
Yeah, the market is looking, I mean, it's very macro at the moment. China's COVID-0 policy is a huge weight on the market. There's a lot of uncertainty around that. And we saw last that apparent oil demand in China had fallen by about 7%. Potentially, we were expecting, the biggest decline in demand since the Wuhan lockdown. So that's going to be weighing on the market. And obviously, the whole EU-Russian oil embargo situation as well is a huge overhang. And it's going to be really interesting to see whether this discussion about China buying Russian oil or increasing its purchases will weigh on the EU's decision. There was a lot of concern at the beginning of the war that any sort of embargo on Russian commodities will just create room for other buyers like China and India to come in. And it's not unusual for China to be opportunistic and sort of jump in when prices are cheap. So we'll be watching out for any impact on the EU negotiations as well.